What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the breakdown. I'm Jayante, and today we're debating one of the most debated quarterbacks in the NFL, man, Jordan Love. Every time they drop a list, it get real disrespectful because you either leaving Jordan Love off the list or have him barely cracking the top 10. But then I look at his numbers and ask, how is this not top 10? So today, I'm not here to push no narrative. I'm not here to hate on Jordan Love or blindly defend him. I'm simply going to look at the numbers, compare him to other quarterbacks, add some context, and answer one question. Does Jordan Love actually belong in the top 10 conversation? Let's break it down. So this debate exists because perception and production don't always match. Jordan Love was left off several top 10 quarterback rankings heading into the season. Even ESPN's executives, coaches, and scouts polls didn't include him. But when you actually look at his production over the last few seasons, the argument becomes much stronger. Then you have players like Micah Parsons, as he should, that's his teammate, publicly defending him, saying people are sleeping on Jordan Love. So the real question is what's more important, reputation or what a player actually produces on the field? That's what we're going to answer today. Facts over feelings. Before I start throwing out stats, I think it's important to explain how I evaluate quarterbacks. I love numbers. I love stats. I'm a stat guy. But I also go off the eye test too, what I see with my own eyes. I like to mix in both. I'm not judging players based on fantasy football. I'm not judging them off one highlight throw, one low light throw. I'm looking at the complete body of work. Passing, yards, touchdowns, turnover ratio, yards per attempt, red zone efficiency. But winning also matters. Third down performance, availability, playoff success. No single stat makes someone a top 10 quarterback. It's the complete body of work. So let's start with Jordan Love's career as a starter. Through the end of 2025, he started 48 games and posted a 27 win, 20 loss, and 1 tie record. He's thrown for over 11,500 yards and 83 passing touchdowns while maintaining nearly a 97 passer rating. His yards per attempt sits at 7.6 yards, which tells me he isn't just throwing check downs. I don't like you check. If you got a check down quarterback, don't even talk to me. I do not like the bubble screens, the halfback screens, the RPOs, the quick slants. If your quarterback don't air it out, please don't talk to me. These are numbers of an average quarterback. These numbers are someone who's actually consistently producing at a high level. Now, to focus on last season, Jordan Love played 15 games. A couple of them he didn't finish, I believe, and a couple of them he didn't start because of concussion protocol. While I might add, getting hit late, by the way, protect the quarterback. But he still had over 3,300 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions for a guy y'all claim is careless with the ball and just be throwing the ball all over the place. That's crazy. Had a passer rating of over 101. He almost had 8 yards per attempt. Again, he not just throwing short passes. He not just throwing short passes. So he airing it out and being efficient by not turning the ball over that much. Was it an MVP season? No. Was it elite? Probably not. But it was a top 10 caliber production type season. When you compare these numbers across the league, when you compare his numbers, period, they stack up against anybody's, if you ask me. Now, I know this is only a small sample size, but let's compare him directly to some of the quarterbacks that's always ranked ahead of him. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud. He compares to them pretty well, if you ask me. He don't have the Hall of Fame coach and tight end that Mahomes got. He don't got the coach, like the offensive play calling of Mike Shanahan with uh running back like McCaffrey and the tight end and the blocking scheme and the actual unpredictable running style. He don't got the defense that CJ Stroud has. Like CJ Stroud really don't have to play with no pressure because he knows his defense gonna get a stop and get him the ball back. But he compares favorably to these guys. His touchdown production is right there. His passer rating is among the best. His yards per attempt is competitive. Now, does this automatically mean that he better than any of these quarterbacks? Exactly, Patrick Mahomes? Heck no. But it does show he belongs in the same conversation productivity wise. He's producing at the same level as many quarterbacks they put ahead of him. And that's all I'm saying. This is this is my favorite right here. One criticism I hear all the time is that he padding his numbers with short throws. I don't think that is true at all. His career yards per attempt is over 7.5, and in 2024 it was even higher. The Pro Football Focus grading also supports this. He grades extremely well throwing intermediate routes. He grades extremely well throwing deep balls. Jordan Love isn't afraid to push the ball down the field. That's an important trait because explosive plays separate good quarterbacks from the great ones. I mean, it's right there in your face. I remember earlier I mentioned when you talking about quarterbacks or players or anybody in a situation, I said I do look at the stats in the eye test, but I forgot to add context. I also like to add context to everybody's situation. You know, some teams are structured better, coached better, blah, blah, blah. Now, the most overlooked part of this conversation is Jordan Love. When you compare him to all them top quarterbacks, they have top pass catchers. And according to everybody else, we don't have a top pass catching group. And they're always the youngest, one of the youngest in the league. So he's been thrown to the youngest wide receiving group in football. We haven't had an established number one superstar receiver since he's been there, even though I think Christian Watson can get there. Green Bay is also a run first offense when Matt LaFleur runs predictable zone runs. We know what's coming. He don't get creative all the time with it. He takes the ball out of Jordan Love's hands, running them runs, get Jordan Love in third and long. He bails us out, and then he goes back straight to that run. Despite all of that, he continues to put together strong production. Now, let me be clear. Context explains performance. It doesn't excuse poor performance. But if we're comparing quarterbacks fairly, context has to be part of the discussion. Now, this ain't no Jordan Love fan club. There are some areas where I still think he needs to improve. I don't think he's perfect by any means. I just think he compares to some of these top quarterbacks. What I want to see is a deeper playoff run. I also want to see him be more aggressive when we have a lead, especially of two scores. I want you to turn two-score leads into four-score leads. Too often, I feel like they let teams hang around, especially teams that don't belong on the same field as you. Great quarterbacks finish games. Elite quarterbacks develop that killer instinct. I feel like my boy a little too nice. I want you going out there ripping people's hearts out, man. Jordan Love definitely has the talent. Now I want to see him put it all together and close teams out. So after looking at the numbers, looking at the comparisons, adding context to the conversation, here's my conclusion. Jordan Love belongs in the top 10 quarterback conversation. Does that mean he's perfect? No. Does it mean I'll take him over Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson? No. But when you evaluate production, talent, efficiency, and the situation around him, Jordan Love has earned the right to be mentioned with the league's best quarterbacks. That's my take. Now I want to hear yours. Do you think Jordan Love is a top 10 quarterback? Drop your top 10 list in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of the breakdown.